and gentlemen, we'd like to call this budget briefing for the Office of the President and the Presidential Management Staff to order. We'd like to acknowledge members of the committee present, our Vice Chairperson, Senator Christopher Bongo. Morning, sir. And of course, our officials from the executive branch, the OP, our Office of the President, led by no less than Executive Secretary Salvador Bingbong Mejaldea. Morning, sir. To our Senior Deputy Executive Secretary Michael Ong, Deputy Executive Secretary Bernardo, Deputy Executive Secretary Justo, Deputy Executive Secretary Acosta, Deputy Executive Secretary Fernandez, COA Representative Auditor Trabok, and from the Presidential Management Staff, we have with us Director Ramirez, Julie Ramirez, Director Joanna Eufemio, Director Gatchalian, Director Flores, Director Kabugayan, Director Pascasio, Assistant Directors Barcelon, Balayan Gangan, Tan, Kimson, Taroma, Santiago, Lazo, and the COA Representative Auditor, Ms. Marilu Lamanzares. Again, good morning. Thank you for joining us today. And we turn it over to the head of the Office of the President, no less than the Executive Secretary, Salvador Bingbong Mejaldea. Good morning, sir. Please feel free to share with us any information or presentation you'd
morning,
like to share.
Senator Sani Angara, Chairman, Committee on Finance, Honorable Senator Bongo, my fellow public servants, good morning. It is the time of the year that all government flock before this august body to present their proposed budgets for the upcoming fiscal year. Tedious as it may be, it is a necessary process, a duty demanded by no less than our Constitution, which the Senate zealously protects. Every department, office, and instrumentality of government appears before the legislative branch to justify our respective budgets. Our programs, activities, and outputs are scrutinized to ensure that the public will be given the service they deserve. The President has delivered his sixth SONA last July and has given a rundown of where the country was and where we are right now. Though there may be times the executive and the Senate don't see eye to eye, it doesn't prevent us from recognizing the assistance and support the Senate and its leadership has given to this administration. Whatever achievements the Duterte administration may have was part of a result of the shared efforts of everyone in government doing their part and doing it well. Before I proceed with the presentation of the 2022 proposed budget of the Office of the President, the Office of the President appears before this honorable committee to present our proposed budget for fiscal year 2022. The Office of the President is the primary office that provides the administrative, advisory, consultative, and support services needed by the President to enable him to effectively perform his duties. For this fiscal year 2022, the Office of the President required a total funding of 8,182,000,000 pesos to effectively operate and provide the President with services he requires. The President and OP intends to faithfully perform its sworn duty and deliver the services needed by the public until the last hour of President Duterte's term of office. OP's proposed budget was formulated based on the directives, policies, and priorities of the President and the tools necessary to achieve them. With the permission of the Honorable Chairperson, Deputy Executive Secretary for Finance, Recelina Ustol, will proceed with the OP's budget presentation.
Yes, thank you, ES Bingbong. We recognize Deputy Executive Secretary Ustol to present. Morning, ma'am. You have the floor.
Good morning, sir. We'll start now presenting the budget of the Office of the President. as recommended by the Department of Budget and Management, the Office of the President for fiscal year 2022 budget is proposing a budget of 8.2 billion, including the RLIF, the retirement and life insurance premium, as well as the pensions of presidents and the ex-presidents for inclusion of the NEP for 2022. This is now the comparative budget we are presenting for 2020, 21, 20, and 22. So if you have noticed the budget for 2022 proposal, the personal services is 13.68%, and the maintenance and other operating expenses of 79.29%, and capital outlay of 7.03%, or 100%, a total of 8,182,033 net of RLIF. We'll be now presenting the programs by expenditures, or this is now the program budget by program expenditures classification. So from operations of the total budget, which is 76.14%, is under the operations, the Presidential Oversight Program, the Presidential Advisory Program, the Presidential Legal Legislative Services Program, the Presidential Executive Staff Services Program. Under the General Administration and Support Services, which is 23.86%, a budget of 1,952,164, and the RLIF of 52,998. So this is now the justifications, or the for the general administration for 2021, the comparative already for 2021 and 2022. So for 2021, for general administration and support services, there's a decrease of, in the total appropriation, we have a decrease of 4,046,000. So on the personal services for 2022, we have increase of 273,924,000. The increase is attributed to the provisions for contractual positions with approved staffing pattern under programs 1.1, 1.3, 2.1, 3.2, which are now included under the GAS. This includes also the implementation of the third tranche of the salary standardization law for plantilla positions and the actual requirements for the terminal leave benefits of mandatory compulsory retirees. For the MOA, we have of the same level. For capital outlay, there is a reduction of 15 million. The decrease was attributed to the reduction of the furnitures and fixtures based on DBM recommendation. Now, on operations, the decrease of PS attributed to PS requirement of contractual positions with approved staffing pattern under this program, as included in the GAS as mentioned earlier. Under the general administration, as mentioned earlier, this is attributed also on the inclusion of the approved staffing pattern, which was included already in the general administration. Now, in the Presidential Oversight Program, we're going now to the by program. Under the Presidential Oversight Program, on the issuance of presidential directives, special powers and authorities, and clearances. So there is a decrease of 143 million. The decrease is attributed to the PS requirement of contractual positions with approved staffing pattern under the program, but included under the GAS, as I mentioned earlier. On the second one, the policy development and formulation of a strategic presidential intervention. The same, the decrease was attributed also that this is not the same. This is due to the ceasing of the operations of the Bangsamoro Commission and the Presidential Commission on Visiting Forces, which is previously under OP. On the oversight management on national security, the decrease in the PS is attributed to requirements for contractual positions, as mentioned earlier, that it was included under the GAS. Public assistance and information services, the increase was attributed to the filling up of vacant positions and the implementation of the third tranche salary standardization law. Oversight their government internal control system, the decrease is not attributed to the unfilled plantilla positions and also arising from the transfer of permanent personnel or retirement. Then on the Presidential Advisory Program, the decrease, the same pa rin, attributed to the unfilled plantilla positions arising for the transfer of personnel or retirement because it takes time to rehire or to fill up the position. This is now the comparative budget by program, activity, and project. So we have a comparative figures for 2021 and 2022. So as mentioned also, the reason is the decrease is attributed to unfilled positions, transfer or retirement. The same with the following. Also in local foreign missions and state visits, the increase is attributed to filling up of some plantilla positions. So that's all, sir, the budget proposal of the Office of the President proper call. So in totality, we have a decrease in figure against the 2021 po.
Thank you, Deputy Executive Secretary Ustol. We'd like to acknowledge a member of the Senate present also, Senator Nancy Binay. Good morning, ma'am. ES Bingbong, anything else to add before we turn it over to PMS, sir?
Nothing more, sir. Wala na
Okay.
po.
We'd like to also acknowledge the presence of the acting head, Yusek Ferdinand Cui Jr. of the Presidential Management Staff. So we'll do PMS. Is it Yusek Cui who will present? Yusek Cui?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning,
Morning.
Senator
Morning, Yusek.
Bong, Sir ES, and fellow workers in government. Thank you po for this opportunity to present.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kindly load the PMS budget presentation, please. Okay, the outline of this short budget presentation is as follows, Mr. Chair. There are three parts. First is the context, second is the proposed budget for fiscal year 2022, and our requested action. Next, please. This is the PMS mandate per the Administrative Code of 1987. And this is already well known by the Chair and the Honorable Senator Go. Next, please. This is the PMS's vision, and I quote, a pillar of excellence and a resilient learning institution empowered by highly reliable public servants dedicated to serving the presidency towards the betterment of the Filipino people. And we aim to attain this vision via our mission, which is to assist the presidency in uplifting the lives of all Filipinos through the facilitation of presidential priorities in accordance with the highest standards of complete staff work and service continuity. Next, please. And Mr. Chair, this is our organizational performance indicator framework. Our organizational outcome is responsive staff support for the presidency and facilitation work on presidential priorities and directives. And this is composed of three major final outputs. So MFO1, or major final output 1 is the provision of decision inputs for the presidency and the conduct of CSW in support of the president's priority programs and projects. The second, which is the fulcrum of the PMSS mandate, is the monitoring and evaluation of and facilitation work on presidential directives and presidential priority programs and projects. We note that this was actually the original mandate of the PMS when it was envisioned during the time of then President Diosdado Macapagal as the PIA, or the Program Implementation Agency. And MFO3 is the management of presidential engagements and provision of secretariat support to the cabinet. So all three combined lead towards this organizational outcome at the top. Next, please. MFO1, just as an example, the PMS, in concert and in partnership with all national government agencies and departments, crafted the comprehensive President's reports to the people since 2017 up to this year. So this has been the progression of the presidential reports mula po noong 2017 all the way to this year. And we have diligently distributed this to members of Congress, including the honorable senators. All totaling 1,002 pages, and we have distributed 16,600 copies. Next, please. And just some highlights of PMS accomplishments from July 2016 to August of this year. So for MFOs 1, 2, and 3. So ito na po yung running total. As you can see, we have provided secretariat support to 517 cabinet and high-level meetings. And in regard to MFO2, we have acted on 125,590 requests for assistance and proposals from the general public. And MFO1, which is the most active of all, especially amidst this pandemic era, the provision of presidential briefers. So these are the running numbers, Mr. Chair, honorable senators. Next, please. And as regards the proposed budget for fiscal year 2022, allow me, Mr. Chair, to turn over the floor to our Director for Planning, Finance, and HR. So this is the OPPMS's budget framework and priorities. Just a note on this, our overall goal amidst these highly challenging times is responsiveness and resiliency. So we are investing a lot on personal safety and wellness because we do believe that a safe and healthy workforce can lead towards a consistently productive and resilient workforce, and therefore institutional responsiveness. So we have tweaked our budget priorities in accordance with this framework, Mr. Chair. So responsiveness and resiliency consisting of three pillars: personal safety and wellness, responsiveness to the requirements of the presidency, whatever it takes to enable, empower our people, to keep them working smartly, leveraging on the state-of-the-art ICT, or information and communications technology. And last but not the least is, of course, disaster resiliency and service continuity. So all told, we hope this will all lead towards responsiveness and resiliency. So at this point, Mr. Chair, allow me to call on Director Clem Kabugayan to present the particulars of our proposed budget for FY 2020. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Yusekwi. We'd like to call Director Kabugayan to present the budget details. Morning.
Thank you. Good morning, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Good morning to the members of the Senate, the Executive Secretary, Undersecretary Ferdinand Cui. In fiscal year 2020, we were able to utilize fully our 707.5 million peso budget. So for fiscal year 2022, Our proposed budget based on the National Expenditure Program is 751,172, which is 5.11% or 40.48 million pesos lower than our 2021 budget. On screen is a detailed breakdown of our fiscal year 2022 proposed budget, totaling 751.172 million. We'd like to just show the table for appreciation of the body. So in summary, our proposed 2022 budget is 751.172 million, 5.11% lower than our 2021 budget. And it is our prayer that our budget be approved, noting that our fiscal year 2022 budget was fully utilized 100% and 4 consecutive years of unqualified COA audit opinion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Kabugayan. We'd like to turn the floor over to one of the committee vice chairs, Senator Bongo. Morning, sir. You have the floor, sir.
Good day, Mr. Chairman. Maraming salamat po. Distinguished colleagues, Executive Secretary, Medjaldea, and to the staff in the Office of the President and Presidential Management staff. Excuse me. Mr. Chairman, I will just deliver an omnibus manifestation of support for both the OP and PMS. First of all, allow me to congratulate this administration led by President Rodrigo Duterte and the Office of the President with the support of the BMS for leading us in the path of reform in the past 5 years. It was a difficult task, but all it takes is political will from a leader to accomplish the mission of providing better services to Filipinos and combating criminality, illegal drugs, and corruption. Under the Duterte administration, it was reported that 451 seaport, 214 airport projects, 5,950 bridges, and 29,264 kilometers of roads were completed as of June 2021. In agriculture, 229,289 hectares of land were distributed and 937,040 farmers were aided by the Free Irrigation Act. Ito po yung mga pinangako ni Pangulong Duterte nung kakaupo pa niya. In education, around 1.62 million students were given free tuition and 150,149 classrooms were constructed also as of June this year. President Duterte recently approved a planned pilot test for face-to-face classes in 120 schools proposed by the Department of Education. As the national government approves the resumption of pilot face-to-face classes, I remind our authorities to have a limited and careful implementation in the meantime. Ibig sabihin, unahin po natin ang kalusugan at buhay po ng mga kabataan at ng mga guro dahil talagang delikado pa po ito. Mas lalong magiging busy po ang ating mga government workers sa contact tracing once na kumalat po itong sakit na ito. So unahin ko lang po, unahin po natin ang buhay po ng bawat Pilipino. In the campaign against criminality and illegal drugs, the government has reported a 64% decline in crime volume from July 2016 to June 2021. 203,715 anti-illegal drug operations were conducted as of May 2021 and around 60 billion worth of illegal drugs were seized. Yun po yung mga nakaraang part na po ito, ng mga nakaraang drug hole ng ating gobyerno. Nakita niyo naman po na talagang seryoso po ang kampanya ni Pangulong Duterte laban sa illegal na droga. Alam naman natin na marami pong apektado nitong drogang ito. Ito rin po ang kanyang pinangako bago pa po siya umupo bilang ating Pangulo. We also had 1.22 million drug surrenderies as of June 2021 and arrested 12,356 high-value targets arrested as of May 2021. So mga gusto naman po na ibig ko sabihin, gusto magbagong buhay, ay bigyan po natin sila ng pagkakataon. Kaya po may mga rehabilitation centers po tayo all over the country. The government has also established 141 malasakit centers nationwide, assisting over 2 million patients. As of September 21, meron ng mahigit 42.1 milyong Pilipino ang nabakunahan, kung saan 23.1 million ay naturukan ng kanilang first dose, samantalang 90 million naman po ay kumpleto na po sa kanilang pagpapabakuna. Patuloy lang po ito hanggang maabot natin ang population protection tungo sa herd immunity ngayong taong ito para po sumaya ang ating Pasko. Ang pakiusap ko lang po sa mga kababayan natin, magtiwala ho kayo sa gobyerno, magtiwala ho kayo sa bakuna. Ang bakuna po ang tanging susi o solusyon sa ngayon upang makabalik tayo sa ating normal na pamumuhay tulad noon. Yan po ang ating inaasam. Malayo na po ang ating narating at maraming pangako ang natupad ng Pangulo, pero hindi po natatapos ang ating laban dito. Patuloy tayong magtulungan muna. Our economic progress was disrupted when the country was confronted with the COVID-19 pandemic last year. Ang ganda na sana po ng takbo ng ating ekonomiya sa pamumuno ni Pangulong Duterte bago po dumating itong COVID-19. But despite this, the country managed to stay afloat and battle the health crisis. Despite the distractions, President Rodrigo Duterte, Office of the President, Office of the Executive Secretary, the Presidential Management Staff remain focused on the fight against COVID-19. Buti na lang po na si Pangulong Duterte po ang ating Pangulo ngayong panahong ito na may political will at meron po tayong kapitan po sa barko. I have no doubts with the leadership of our President, our nation will be able to defeat this virus. It is in this regard that I express my full support to the proposed budgets of the Office of the President and Presidential Management Staff. I am confident that these offices exercise prudence in the use of funds given to them. The budget of the Office of the President is crucial not only in the implementation of presidential programs, but also in national security management that helps in the maintenance of peace and order in the country. The budget of the PMS is also as crucial since the agency assists the President in the performance of this mandate. Nung nagtatrabaho pa po ako sa Malacanang, nakita ko po ang dedikasyon ng mga tao sa mga opisinang ito. Alam kong hindi basta-basta ang kanilang tungkulin, walang oras po ang pagtatrabaho. Talagang dedicated po itong mga empleyadong ito. Lalo na ngayong pandemya, walang tulog po ang mga yan. Saksi po ako sa kanilang galing at sipag sa pagsiservisyo sa bayan at sa mga kapwa nating Pilipino. Ngayong pandemya, alam kong nasa mabuting mga kamay ang bansa dahil nandyan po ang Office of the President and PMS na umaalalay kay Pangulong Duterte. Salamat po sa suportang ibinibigay ninyo sa Pangulo upang may paabot ang tunay na malasakit ng ating gobyerno sa mga tao. That is all, Mr. Chairman, and I hope we swiftly approve the budgets of the Office of the President and Presidential Management Staff. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Salamat po, Vice Chairperson Senator Bongo, and congratulations to the OP, to the President, of course, and PMS for ably supporting our President and for all the achievements mentioned by Senator Go, and of course to Senator Go for the Malasakit Center, which is his initiative. Talagang naririnig po natin yan. Marami talagang natutulungan po yan. Congratulations, sir. And we'd like to acknowledge also, we are told that one of our colleagues, less than the majority leader of the Senate, Senator Migs Zubiri is online. Are you here, sir? Senator Migs, majority leader? Well, maybe he will if he doesn't want to make use of his time and his privilege to ask questions ahead of the other senators, we'll recognize Senator Nancy Binay. Good morning, ma'am. Morning po.
Morning,
for
Mr.
joining us.
Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, ES Majaldea, and to the OP and PMS family. I just have a few questions, Mr. Chairman.
Please go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. Siguro for PMS, kay Yusek Kui, dun sa isang presentation nyo, kasama dun sa slide na parang you have 50 presidential priority projects. Can you please enumerate some, if not all? I guess out of the 50, ano yung kumbaga top 3
presidential priority projects, ma'am.
Yes,
But-
parang dun sa MFO2 ba yun? Or that
Oh.
you help facilitate?
Yeah, that's pertaining to MFO2 po. And
Yes.
we have so far monitored 2,950 presidential directives, Your Honor. And one of
Parang
the,
meron dun yung 50 presidential priority projects in your
Okay,
presentation.
part of that is the, perhaps Secretariat, can we please load the slide on that? Offhand, we have the presidential priority airport projects. We have the upgrading of hospitals. We also have the assistance to our wounded in action and killed in action uniformed services personnel. That's the CSBP program. So marami po ito, ma'am, and we can submit po the complete accomplishments on this particular.
Ito yung 50. That is
Yeah,
that the 50?
Programs as well as projects. So hindi pare-pareho. May programs, meron din projects. So example of a program is the Comprehensive Social Benefits Program, the Malasakit Centers. Projects naman, examples would be some of our build projects, and then the presidential
You say,
priority
ano ibig sabihin nun? The funding for that project was taken from your budget? Or kayo lang yung nag-facilitate?
Ang funding, ma'am, remains with the implementing agency, and the PMS just helps the implementing agency unclog the implementation bottlenecks. Because the implementation, ma'am, of infrastructure projects, for instance, and even social development projects entails a lot of interagency collaboration po. And this is something that personally I have learned in my 21 years of service in the presidential management staff, that one of the most important things to consider in implementation is the effectiveness of interagency collaboration. And that's where the PMS comes in po. And if it's a presidential priority, it's got to get done by all means. And so we exert all efforts to get the agencies to act in unison, in synergy. And that includes joint planning, joint budgeting, joint implementation, and joint M&E, among others.
Okay. So, technically, parang kayo yung taga alis ng bara dun sa mga projects.
Yeah, to the
Correct.
best,
Okay.
in the best way we can, ma'am.
Okay. So, during the DBCC briefing, and in fact, during the budget hearing of DBM yesterday, it was discussed na parang 30% pa lang out of the DPWH projects ang nare-release pa lang. Eh di ba parang and then ang sinabi explanation ng DBM kasi wala pa daw clearance from OP. I think Mr. Chairman, the amount was 100 billion ba worth
Something
of
like that,
projects.
yeah. Something like that. Oh, parang
Yusek, September na tayo. Kumbaga, itong mga proyekto na to na dapat sana patapos na, hanggang ngayon hindi pa nasisimulan. Actually, hindi pa nga siya nabibid out.
Mr. Chair, Madam Senator, are you referring po to the so-called for later release funded projects?
Yes, I think, yes.
I see. Okay. That's not within our latitude, but we'll gladly coordinate po with the OP regarding this, and we'll look into this po.
Okay. Siguro, Yusek, if it's under you, I don't know who's in charge sa OP pagdating nga dito sa mga proyekto na hanggang ngayon hindi pa nare-release. Kasi 'di ba, Mr. Chairman, binigyan natin ng allocation to last year as part of the build program ng pamahalaan. But it's nakakagulat kasi nga mag-October na in a few days, and then may maririnig tayo na 100 billion worth of projects na alam natin can generate a lot of jobs na kailangan natin ngayon, pero hanggang ngayon hindi nga na-implement tong mga programa na ito. And siguro magandang malaman ano bang plano nila kung are they planning to release this or wala na talagang plano na ituloy yung mga ganitong project for whatever reason.
We can ask anyone from the OP to answer who has knowledge of or who has the answer to Senator Binay's queries.
As this, can we address that, please?
Yes, with the permission of the chair, Senator Angara.
Yes, who is speaking? Sorry.
SDS Michael Ong, Senior Deputy.
Yeah.
Michael
Hi.
Ong, Senator.
Yeah. Yes, Maki. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, Senator.
Morning.
Good morning. And in answer to the question of Senator Nancy, the priorities of the President are embodied in the National Expenditure Program that was submitted to the Congress, and that's true for the upcoming year, and that was true for last year. The FLRs, the for later release, are limited to the new budgetary items that are not in that NEP. And many of these, because they are not in the NEP, have not gone through fully the usual vetting process of the agencies. And so there's good reason to place them in a category of their own, which warrants the imposition of special conditions for their release. And Chair, we acknowledge and we recognize the collective wisdom of Congress for putting these budgetary items in the General Appropriations Act for 2021. But we have to, since these are not part of the original plan, we have to make sure that they are vetted fully by the agencies and by the DBM before they are released. And that is why they are made subject to the approval of the President as well. Thank you, Chair.
Yun lang. Ang question ko lang, it's been 9 months and hindi pa rin tapos yung vetting process nyo. Nakakabahala lang kasi for example, I think si Sen Pia Cayetano raised this in one of the hearings na meron kaming pinasang batas yung doktor, yung additional funding for scholarship for doctors. Kasama din siya dun sa na FLR. So for this coming school year, imbis na badagdagan yung students natin for yung scholarship natin for incoming medical students, hindi maka-avail kasi nga kasama siya dun sa hindi na-release na pondo.
Okay.
So, it's 3 buwan na lang. And at the end of the year, mare-revert na tong pondo na to back to Treasury. If I'm tama po ba, Mr. Chairman? Parang that was the explanation of
Yes,
BBM last
if
year.
they're not obligated by December 31, 2021, they will lapse. That's the we follow the cash budgeting. So ganun ho yun, Your Honor. Baka we can ask ES Bingbong and Senior Deputy Executive Secretary Maki to prioritize. Baka pwedeng i-prioritize yung medical scholarships kasi that's much needed, I think, by the country. At saka it would also give flesh to the cooperation. Nabanggit ni ES yung cooperation between the two branches of government. Kasi parang we understand naman yung point ni ES Maki na they must be vetted maybe since they were not in the NEP, no? Pero yun nga, segundahan ko na lang yung sinabi ni Senator Nancy, it's been 9 months. So can you give a timeline maybe for the release, or are this going to be held until the end of the year?
I don't think so, sir. We will just look into it and we'll see to it that this will be acted soonest.
Thank you. Yes, kasi yun talagang as chair of the committee, we really get the butt of calls from our colleagues, and it was raised yesterday during the DBM. Yung sagot nga naman ng DBM, hindi naman nila
Kontrolado.
Kontrolado. So, and they agree naman na it would help the country if you release 100 billion worth of spending. That could mean jobs. Your Honor's countryside and um, and for things like yung nabanggit ni Senator Cayetano at ni Senator Binay for the medical scholarships, which incidentally is authored by the Senate President and Senator Joel. No? So that was supposed to be an urgent response, one of the urgent responses to the pandemic sana para yung doctors sa probinsya and medical personnel dahil yun ang perceived weakness talaga. And we really tried to carve out fiscal space for that, Your Honors. Yes, Senator Binay, go ahead, please.
Just to add, Mr. Chairman, and if I remember it correctly during our discussion, hindi nga to new item, di ba? I think through your intercession,
Yeah, it's not
di
a
ba
new item
meron na,
actually. Yeah.
meron na
Even before there was a
talagang,
law, we were already
Yes.
putting funding in the GAA I think for the last prior to 2021, I think prior to that around 2 to 3 GAAs. And I think during that previous GAA, hindi naman na FLR yung pera dun sa scholarships because it's considered part of the CHED funding at saka time bound yun. So yun nga, sayang yung opportunity na yung school year where we could have used the that's a year lost in effect for the prospective students sana.
And moving forward, Mr. Chairman,
Senator Binay.
hindi ko alam kung magagamit pa to kasi nag-start na yung school year.
Yeah, that's why. So siguro baka hahabol na lang sa second sem, but we might need to put some kind of we might need to do what we did last year where we extended the effectivity of certain expenditures or appropriations
Senator-
in order that they don't lapse.
Senator Binay, can
Yes,
you-
yes, Bingo.
Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
If you can give me a listing of those items so we can have them prioritized. So I would appreciate kung mapapadala nyo kaagad sa amin na para matignan kaagad.
Actually, ES, nasa inyo ho yung listahan. I don't even have a copy of that na nabanggit lang siya ni
Alam mo,
Senator
walang use
Pia.
kasi we'll have to look at it and then rest assured. Patitignan ko kaagad right after this hearing.
Actually, ES, Bibang, nabanggit lang ho siya ni Sen Pia. I don't remember which hearing, Mr. Chairman, na
Yeah.
I think we discussed it, diba, na pati nga yung medical scholarship tinamaan nung for late release.
Sige, patitignan
Sa
ko.
DBCC,
But rest assured right now, after this hearing.
Yeah, I think sa DBCC ata ni-raise ni Sen Pia yung medical scholarship.
Yes, we look into that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and siguro
yes,
Bing
for
Bong,
that personal commitment.
yeah, baka wag naman ho sana yung soonest natin umabot ng December
Hindi
something.
naman. Siguro, October.
At saka yung
Malapit
pondo sana, ES for education, for health, for infrastructure,
Yes.
which I think are the goals
Yeah.
of the administration. Baka nga pwedeng i-prioritize ho, sir.
Yes, Senator Angara, we'll do that. We'll look into that.
And I guess siguro, ES Bing Bong, may nakikita ho ba tayong scenario na meron doon talaga na hindi na marirelease? Is
Alam
that
mo,
a
I would like to
possibility?
acknowledge our majority leader. I see him now on the screen. I thought it was George Clooney, but it's Senator Zubiri.
But we just want to look at it, no? Para
Yeah.
mabet lang mabuti.
Yeah, but yung scenario nga ho na out of...
Sa matter of fact, medyo itong linggo na ito, may mga lumalabas na. Marami na lumalabas, no? Marami na ang lumalabas, no? Just give us time and then ito, ipaprioritize namin ito. Agad-agad.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, we'd like to acknowledge the majority leader is raising his hand. Morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Chairman Sani, Angara, and of course, Ma'am Nancy. I hope you don't mind, I'll interject. My question actually, I don't have a question. Thank you. Good morning, ES, Kuya Bingbong. Good morning to our undersecretaries and deputy secretaries and members of the OP. Magandang umaga po. Yeah, I was actually, naman, ES, I've always been a supporter of the budget of the OP. Always. As a matter of fact, we try to make it as painless and as quick as possible, the discussions of the OP. Ang akin, isang katanungan lang, Kuya Bingbong, because, as majority floor leader, I am being... how's the signal? Can you hear me, Sunny?
Yes.
Yes, very clear, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Yung problema ko lang is that all my colleagues have been asking me about the for later release of their institutional amendments. We call it institutional amendments. And of course, I sound like a broken record because I keep, of course, explaining that it's coming, no? It's coming, and it should be out soon. Yun lang. So when it was raised by Ma'am Nancy, maybe we only have a week left of work actually, yes. And then next, when we get back, will be the budget na. It's going to be very difficult for me to shepherd the budget with the chairman when there are questions like this that hound us all the time. As a matter of fact, it's becoming to be very difficult for us really now to push things forward because of these questions. So, what you're saying, Kuya Bingbong, yes, is meron tayong meron naman lumalabas.
Meron, no?
Because, opo, kasi sabi na nila ng DBM, when they follow up with the DBM, they always say, oh, we have to check with the OP for these measures. Sayang lang po because we all know that we need to have countryside development, and the only way to do countryside development is to push for these medical scholarships, to push for these infrastructure programs, to push for these different programs that were set in the budget, unfortunately, na FLR. So, ang question lang kasi, like for example, I followed up a month ago, ang sabi ng, I got a message from the OP saying that release na po yung mga FLRs, and then I checked with the DBM, wala pa po silang linabas na SARO. Kasi SARO po yung hinihintay ng agency, ng implementing agency, whether it is CHED, whether it is DepEd, whether it is the different agencies of government, DPWH. So, I'm not sure lang, Kuya ES, Kuya Bingbong, kung yung pag-go signal ninyo na nabibinbin pa muli sa DBM at hindi nila na-release yung SARO. Maganda sana kung pag sinabi nyo na inailabas na po yung FLR, ay ma-follow up na rin sa DBM para malabas ang SARO. Kasi even me, I have a personal experience that I was told by my dear friend, my palangga, si Ma'am Jenny, na release na po yung for FLR for this particular advocacies ninyo. And then ang pagdating po sa DBM, wala pa silang release na SARO. So yan ang problema. That's the situation. Yes, I do not know if there's more lack of coordination or there's a problem between the two agencies. Yes.
I saw some delays, no? May mga nangyari niyan. Inimbestigahan ko yan. Sabi ko, pag nalabas na dito, labas nyo na rin kaagad yan. Nakita ko yung isa, almost more than a week bago lumabas yata eh. So sabi ko, my attention was called, so I took it up with DBM kung pwede bilis-bilisan lang. No? Pero dito sa iba, basta na process na po ito, sigurado diretso na ito sa DBM agad-agad. No? We're doing it fast and we'll do it faster this time. No? Ano lang.
Thank you. Yes, siguro what we can do, Chairman, kung papayag si ES, after the hearing, after this meeting, if we have a 5-minute chance for 5 minutes to have an executive session with the ES, Chairman, that would be most welcome. Kung you can give us a bit of time, ES, mamaya, pagkatapos po nitong hearing na to.
Okay, I'll ask our staff to set up a separate
Yeah.
meeting for that.
Thank you, ES. Salamat.
Despalina, pakitutukan lang ito sa DBM, Despa.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, ES. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Ms. Bingbong, for that commitment. We'll give it back the floor to you, Senator Nancy.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Balikan ko lang yung PMF kasi as part of the 2020 COA report, parang meron din ata kayong binigay na pondo sa PSDBM. Tama po ba? Worth 36 million?
That's correct, Madam Chair. And we have actually itemized that the funds that were placed with the DBMPS. And we've been working actually closely with them for the expedited procurement of the items that our personnel need. Some have already been procured, pero fortunately a lot have remained pending. So we continue to closely collaborate with them up to this date po, so that all this would be finally procured because our personnel really badly need them.
Oo nga, I think meron, based on sa COA report, meron mo atang 4 to 7 years na ata na funds nyo na natulog sa PSDBM. And Mr. Chairman, di ba we were discussing kung paano nga mali-zero out na ng PSDBM yung mga ganitong pera na nakalagay sa kanila.
Right, right. Yung those that the sleeping funds is what some of us called it. No?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, the procurement for these items are actually at different stages of procurement na po, and some are in the more advanced stages. We've been exerting our best efforts from our end, but of course this is just subject to the absorptive capacity of the PBMPS. So actually up to this date, marami po dito sa kasamahan ko sa PMS involved sa pagtutok po.
Yeah, pero yung kuwi kakasama ho ata dito yung PMS building?
No, nakabalik na po kami, Madam Senator, Mr. Chair, sa aming newly retrofitted building since February this year. And yung binabanggit ni Madam Senator na 2013 na PSDBM funds, that's actually for our personnel's office systems. Chapsuy ngayon, merong mga naka-table, merong naka-office system, because we were banking on precisely that procurement to have been delivered long time ago. So up until now, hindi pa po siya na procured completely. So our people are working with our colleagues at the DBMPS very, very closely. Tumutulong na po kami para mapabilis. So we understand they also have a heavy workload.
Okay. And siguro maganda ding aralin. In fact, I think meron na rin nga ako sa Senate na pending bill na tanggalin na tong PSDBM and just give it back to the agency pagdating dun sa procurement. And then ano pa ba? Gusto ko lang malaman, how's your vaccination rate pagdating ko sa PMS office and even sa OP?
For the PMS, Mr. Chair, Madam Senator, I'm pleased to report that we have already attained 85% vaccination rate. But we intend to go for a higher percentage. And I'm also pleased to report that even during ECQ, yung inyong abang lingkod ay halos araw-araw din pong on-site. And we have never been skeletal in the sense na skeletal. We've always maintained at least 1/3 workforce during the most challenging of circumstances. Right now, Madam Chair, Madam Senator, Mr. Chair, we are 70% on-site. Because our work for the presidency is so important, it's something that we are able to better do on-site than we would be able to do if we were off-site. So we invest heavily on preventive measures on personnel safety and wellness, precisely to help make them safe, well, and productive in the service of the presidency.
Congratulations, Yusek Kui, for for your high vaccination rate, and I suppose mababa din yung yung COVID positives in your office for you to attain yung 70% na at hindi kayo nagsiskeletal.
That's correct, Madam Senator, Mr. Chair, because we have adopted a safe work bubble concept, and we are blessed to have an open air roof deck where we hold most of our group activities like MANCOM meetings, even the meals for our personnel. We don't take off our masks in enclosed spaces, and we make sure that all our enclosed areas are well ventilated. So among others, we have invested on high-grade air purifiers and high-quality masks.
Okay, thank you. And sa OP naman po?
Sa OP po, we have a 91.56%
Wow.
vaccination, and we intend to push it up. Maroon lang matitigas sa ulo ko, na ayaw talaga. Sige lang.
Congrats.
Oo.
Congrats. So at least, maliit na lang, 9% na lang yung kailangan yung i-convince.
Oo.
I guess yung 9%, yun talaga yung mga medyo anti-vaxxers.
Mahirap pakiusapan, pero hindi mo naman pwedeng persayan.
And then, siguro, Mr. Chairman, just for my last question, magkano yung confidential and intelligence budget nyo for 2020? 2020, 2021, and 2022?
Despalina?
Yes po, sir. For 2020 po, sir, we have the 4.5 billion, the same with 2022, 21, and 22. And 2020 po is 2.5 billion po.
Okay, and yung sa 2020 ba, was this fully utilized, the 4.5 billion?
Yes, Your Honor. Fully utilized po.
Okay, and then dun sa, ano na ho yung status for 2021?
For 2021 po, we have already disbursed as of September 30.
Fully dispersed na ho?
Hindi pa po, ma'am. Yung ano lang kasi, the budget is intended for the whole year appropriation po yun. The physical and financial plan is for 1 year.
Yes.
So we have already disbursed as of September 30 po. We have tas advanced already for the September 30, 16 to 30 expenditures.
Magkano ho? How much was released na for up to September?
Yes, a moment, Your Honor. Kunin lang namin ang data, Sir Ram, ha? Sandali po. Your Honor, is already 2.950 million po as of September 30.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Nancy, are there any other members of the committee who wish to ask questions or make manifestations? It seems no more. Majority Leader, would you still care to ask anything else?
No, absolutely not, Mr. Chairman. I'm here to support the budget of the OP. Just like we supported the budget of the VP yesterday. We'd like to support the budget of the OP as quickly as possible. If there are no members, Mr. Chairman, if I may be honored to move that the budget of the OP be referred to plenary.
Yes, certainly. Any objection? There being none, the budgets of the Office of the President and the Presidential Management Staff PMS are favorably approved by the committee and recommended for plenary action. Thank you very much to our colleagues and to
Congratulations.
Executive Secretary Bingbong, Senior Deputy Executive Secretary Makiong,
Thank you, Senator.
Despalina, Yusek Kui, and the good men and women, hardworking men and women of the OP and PMS.
Chairman,
Wish you stay
Congrats.
safe and
Chairman.
yung pakiusap na lang ho namin, ES Bingbong, on behalf of our members sana. We appreciate your personal appearance and commitment, sir, and we're
Chairman.
relying on that, sir.
Chairman, meron
Yes,
na akong
yes.
tanong. Hindi ko nakikita si ES. How come?
Alam mo, hindi ako familiar dito sa ano na to eh.
Hindi ko makita. I miss Kuya Bingbong.
He was here a while ago. He was when he was presenting. He was
Mukhang natanggal yung
Press
kanyang
ako, hindi ko na alam
video.
paano ako babalik, pero rest assured, gwapo pa rin ako.
Yes, I know that. Kuya Bingbong, stay safe, ha? Stay safe. Please,
You
everyone
too,
from the
you too.
PMS and OP, please stay
Yes,
safe
sir.
from this.
Ayusin ko lahat yung
Yusek Andy, thank you. We'll see you.
Salamat, ES. Thank you, Your Honor.
Salamat.
God bless you all.
Good
Thank
morning.
you, Senators.
Mr.
Thank you.
Sani, Senator
Congrats.
Nancy.
Take
Thank
care.
Thank you, Senator Nancy.
Bong,
Thank you.
Salamat
Good
po.
job.
Congrats, Sir ES, Ma'am Lina.
You too.